On top of that, you also need to get a eGPU to play AAA games on 4K, then at this point, might you be as well to buy a desktop? I don't know, the jury's out. But I am certainly really enjoying this. And the point is, if you're used to your desktop apps, if you're used to the way Windows works, if you're used to managing files with the File Explorer in Windows, if you're used to navigating around full desktop apps with keyboard shortcuts, you're going to have a much better time on a Windows device than you will on, say, an Android device or an iPad as well. And then you've got a mini device, which is incredibly powerful as well. I think this is a really good thing. I think this is an excellent mini PC. I'm really enjoying my time with it. Sure, the little mini keyboard will be a bit cramped for longer typing sessions. And I think you'll find yourself wanting to dock this in a lot of situations. It's not a portable desktop, if you like. But the thing is, it's absolutely capable of doing all of the things that I want a PC to do. And you can do that, yeah, wherever you are. I have found so far that using a bit of a mix of the pointer when you really need a positive click on something and the touchscreen interface has been just fine, really. Sure, there are times where I'm going to want to carry a mouse and use that as well. But generally, I've found that absolutely fine. I've managed, if I use my little 10-inch cutting workspace here in Premiere, I've managed to actually fly through most of an edit just here on the one screen, and then I can plug this same laptop in to an external monitor when I get home and finish that edit off. It's been absolutely fine. I've also found the thing, importantly, cool enough for working for long sessions on your lap. So that's really good, that's really important. Although sometimes when you open it, you accidentally flick these buttons on the back, and that is a little bit of a nuisance. So one of these is maps to screenshot, so that is actually a bit annoying that you accidentally press that sometimes, but I can change that, I'm sure, at some point. So the first game I played was Forza Horizon. It did its kind of benchmark mode, and it came back with 1440p and low settings. So okay, that's fine. If it works, that's wonderful. But then I was playing that and it did manage 60 frames per second consistently, but then occasionally there was this massive stutter and you'd just be put into the wall, so that was a bit frustrating. But I found that as soon as I plugged it in, obviously the settings took over and it upped the TDP of the graphics chip in there, and it did manage just fine actually at that high resolution with 60 frames per second. It was just absolutely solid. And then I found in the motion assist, you can actually increase that TPD. So leaving it at 35 watts, actually, it managed Forza Horizon so far, and I'm not as far through the game as I will be, I hope, but even in situations with racing with multiple cars, it's been pretty solid at that resolution. All on kind of low settings, of course. But that's good news, and you can take the TDP even higher. And then last night I was playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I really enjoyed that. I got as far as blowing up the mecha reactor, no issues whatsoever, all at 1440p, and yeah, I will see. I'm actually going to plug that into my 4K monitor and try that with the gamepad, because you can actually increase the TDP up to 54 watts, so we'll see how that goes. So at least you can play those games at the very least in HD at good enough frame rates, and you probably won't need that docked eGPU unless you want to go up to that ultra high settings and a 4K monitor. So I think that's great news.